I did not go into law enforcement. I did do some military law enforcement at a time, but what made you want to become a police officer?
Oh man, that is a loaded question. So my dad was a police officer for the city that I grew up in. It's a city he grew up in too, so it was unique. Um, Having a father that was a police officer in the city where you live, we had interactions with people that had interactions with him in a professional setting. And it let me really understand the impact you can have on your community. One of the most memorable incidents was the high school I went to. We got out early every Friday, and my dad didn't work on Fridays. His schedule was Monday through Thursday. So he'd pick me up from school every Friday and we'd go out to lunch. And we're sitting there having lunch. He goes to wash his hands, and the table behind us, the kid turns around and taps me on the shoulder. And he says, "Is that your dad?" And he was probably estimating his age, like 8 years old. I said, "Yeah." And his mom says something in Spanish. I'm the only member of my family that doesn't speak Spanish. But his mom says something to him in Spanish. And then he tells me, "My mom says your dad's a good man. He helped my brother when no one else would." And I was like, and as the son of a cop, when somebody goes, "Is that your dad?" You're always kind of like, arrest them. Like, what's gonna, you're, yeah, it's always an interesting time. But so then my dad comes back and I say, "Hey, do you recognize them?" Like, this is what she said. So my dad talks to her a little bit. Again, I don't speak Spanish. I have no idea what they said. But yeah, apparently her son, the father was out of the picture. Her son started to go down a path that wasn't a good one. And so my dad would show up and sort of direct him towards PAL, so Police Athletics League, and a few other routes that it sounds like turned out pretty good for him. So having those interactions at a young age, and then going to college, going in the military, I looked at it like, okay, well, now I want to go back to where I grew up, go back to my community, and trying to have a positive impact. And then all those stories of when I was a kid with my dad, they sort of popped up. And I was like, hey, let me try my hand at this. And now it's 13 years later.
Nice. Thank you for the feel good story. I think that goes really well. And I think those are the stories we need to hear more about, not the bad stories in the newspapers about some crappy police officer that's the 1%, right? There's a lot of folks like you and your dad who make a difference. So thank you.